So I was on Sky Sports to discuss the just disgraceful VAR decision from the West Ham Arsenal game last night, and West Ham's survival hopes ahead of the massive Spurs Leeds game. I'll come back afterwards and just give some more thoughts on where I'm at with things because I'm still fuming. But let's get into it.
Exactly what West Ham supporter Dan Lawless has done. Morning to you, Dan. You've had time for the decision to sink in now. Do you think the goal should have stood?
Yeah, I think it should have stood. I really do. And, for the reasons even David said earlier, there's so much going on in that box. They've cherry-picked the one incident that was going on and basically just chose to rule out the goal. Because it seemed like they wanted to. So much in the build-up. Pablo does not get to Raya if he's not being pushed by Trossard. So it's tiring now. So if we go down, that's the one silver lining is we won't have to deal with this nonsense called VAR anymore.
Do you not think, though, that the most obvious foul, or two fouls even, are on David Raya? And the fact that he is trying to catch the ball, that is why it was disallowed.
Well, it was so obvious. It took them 5 minutes to look at it and decide that was the one. So so clearly it wasn't as obvious as that because it took them so long. Otherwise, they would have got to it like that. Look, there you go. There's the instance. We'll go on that. And that's why this whole thing, when they say clear and obvious, is an absolute farce. It's a lie. When they say, oh, it's got to be clear and obvious for us to overturn it. They say that, and then they take ages to find these clear and obvious errors to overturn decisions and re-ref the game. So, like I said, with everything going on in that box, they should have said, look, too much is going on. There's no point us overturning the decision because we can't determine the timeline of events and how things are going on. But they've decided to re-ref it because they wanted to, and it's just frustrating.
All right, let's move on from it then because it can't be changed now, can it, from a West Ham point of view? You are not down just yet. There's still only a point in it, a point behind Spurs. But if they beat Leeds tonight, is that it? Is that done? Are West Ham relegated?
I feel like while mathematically we're not, essentially, I think it would be too much of a hill to climb, to be honest with you. We'd have to hope Spurs get, no more than a point in their last two and us to win our last two, and that margin for error is so tight. I can't see it, and then it just depends how our players respond. Will that, seeing that us go 4 points behind, will that have us feeling defeated, or will we, have a fire lit under us? But the last two games Spurs have got are very tough. Stamford Bridge away, as bad as Chelsea are, it's always a tough place for them to go, and Chelsea did get a hard-fought point against Liverpool, and then Everton at home, who are going in for Europe, So there's a chance they lose both their last games, but then for us to be perfect as well, it's a lot to ask. So I really have to hope that Leeds get at least a point today for us to have any hope, really.
Do you think that with the owners and so on, and West Ham's a great football club, I had a sort of small period there, fans are unbelievable, the people in and around the club are brilliant, but do you think that the owners have put you in this position? Obviously, Karen Brady's gone recently, and some of the decisions, do you regret? I think getting rid of David Moyes. Do you believe all them decisions and everything from the owners of the clubs is why West Ham are in the position they are?
Yeah, I do. I mean, look, we can go back all the way to the stadium move that has really sort of handicapped West Ham. I think we would have achieved more at Upton Park. We had the worst stadium migration in history. It was an absolute disaster. And then building up to decision after decision, you go back to Moyes. Look, a lot of issues started under Moyes, not because of Moyes. I'm not blaming Moyes, but while he was here, we sold Declan Rice for a lot of money and we replaced him poorly. We spent poorly time and time again. And then Moyes, his contract came to an end. They parted ways. And then they replaced him with Julian Lopetegui, who no one wanted, respect to him, but no one asked for Julian Lopetegui. And then Graham Potter, another poor appointment. While I look at teams like Crystal Palace, going to get Glasner and Bournemouth getting Iraola. Like these teams that were behind us are making sensible appointments, running their clubs better. We're a poorly run club. That's why we're in this situation. And Arsenal are where they are because they've been run better than they have been previously. It's all about how you run. So it does start at the top, mate.
And just a final word, Dan, on tonight's game. Then obviously you'll be rooting for Leeds, but last night's defeat means that they are safe now. Are you worried they're going to be on the beach tonight?
There's always a worry of that they'll take their eye off the ball, but I have to hope that they have more self-respect, integrity and dignity than Aston Villa did last week when they played Spurs, and they actually go out there and play for pride and actually try to finish as high up the table as possible, because we all know with the TV revenue, every position gets you more money in the league. So I'd have to hope for the betterment of their club and to have more money to spend in the summer, they would give everything they've got. And we've got a World Cup coming up. Surely they want to go and, get a last chance to get into the plans for the World Cup. And I just hope they give it everything they've got today. And I am worried, to be honest with you. I'm going to be watching it and I'm going to be stressed and nervous because it could be our last hope. So please, Leeds, please give us a win.
Leeds.
So there it is. My appearance on Sky Sports talking about this absolute farce. And it's just so funny to me that these Arsenal fans will come and sit here and say, it was the correct decision, it's the correct decision. And just ignore all of the instances where they've benefited from it. And those were the correct decisions. Like all these instances, you ask Arsenal fans, where it's the correct decision. Fair play to the Arsenal fans who go, look, we've benefited from that. Like I can see why West Ham fans would be pissed because we've benefited from it. We're on West Ham fan TV. We had an Arsenal fan on the fan cam who said it. It's the dark arts, they do it. But all this other stuff, like when he tries to say, well, it was obviously that was the issue. If it was so obvious, it wouldn't have took 5 minutes, would it? Right? And that's the thing that just annoys me is Arsenal get away with this time and time and time again. That's why they are set piece FC. They're so good at set pieces because of the BS they do in boxes. And look, they looked for it. They wanted to rule it out. So it's disgusting. Look, we played well. Ultimately, look, if we go down, it's not because of that decision. Like, it's just really frustrating that sort of shit can happen to you when you are down there and fighting. But we shouldn't have left it this late. And now we need Leeds to do us a massive favour. I just don't know, man. If it comes to the point and Spurs do win, at least it won't be this last day BS and it'll be confirmed and we can just fucking make our peace with it. But, when David Bentley, the media love to do the Moyes thing, the narrative is easy. Because you got rid of Moyes, you're in this predicament. That's when it started, Moyes going. When it started under Moyes, because it's the poor recruitment that started while he was still here. And that's the mess we're in. But like I said, it doesn't even go back to Moyes. It goes back to leaving Upton Park. Leaving our home, and that's why we're in this mess. And now that is ultimately going to cost us some serious revenue when we're down in the Championship, because every little penny in catering and all that match day revenue doesn't belong to us. So, genius move to kill a football club. It really is. I don't know, man. Now I'm going to fucking sit through this Spurs Leeds game. I'm doing a hate along on here later on, 8 PM for the game, so do join me. But can we have one bit of luck? One thing go our way, please. Please, just let something go our way and let Leeds come out there and put on a performance and smash Spurs. If we do that, if Leeds win, I back us to stay up. In the lot over the 2 games, 2 for 2, I back us if Leeds win today. But Leeds have to win. Or at least draw. At least draw. And it's all on us for Newcastle after that. Players have got to pick themselves up and go harder than ever. But I don't know what else. I'm just so fucked off with